All right, we are live. This is Jerm. I just cleared Final Fight a couple days ago, and I wanted to go through and do a kind of strategy breakdown and save state by save state understanding of how the game is played as Hagar and kind of beat 'em up fundamentals overall. And so I am joined by FPS Failure, who I'm just going to call FPS for the remainder of the game, or for the remainder of the video. Say hi.
Yo, what up? It's me, FPS. I like video games of the arcade variety, and also a big I want to get into but haven't quite gotten into, but I like beat 'em ups guy. So hoping to gain some knowledge here.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good because you'll be able to ask questions kind of on behalf of an interested audience, which is my goal here. And you were there for a lion's share of the attempts that I was making this most recent time. I cleared Final Fight during COVID, and it was my first arcade clear ever. So that was
What a
like,
start! I did
yeah,
not know that.
yeah, that was my first one. That was before I even got into shmups. That was it was
Damn.
it was because I didn't have a fighting game community at the time, and it was like pre a lot of the classics getting rollback. So I just ended up
Mm.
like committing to the game because it came out on like the beat 'em up collection. So yeah, it was 2019, I think, when the beat 'em up collection came out, and I just had unlimited time because it was COVID, and ended up, yeah, it took me like 90 hours to clear it the first time, and then it's been about
Yep.
6 years since or whatever. And I was like, oh man, I should sit down and like get Final Fight recorded because I've been kind of on a beat 'em up kick, especially post clearing the Punisher,
Yep.
and I just forgot like how hard this game was. It's so unbelievably difficult and demanding, and like many fighting games, actually, if you were to get back into a fighting game that you had played a while ago, the de-rust period for this game is obscene. Like there's so much to it. And so I wanted to kind of capture all the knowledge that I have really fresh in my brain and turn it into a guide and kind of have a co-pilot here while we explore that. And so yeah, we're going to hop right into it, and I'm playing on the Final Fight 30th anniversary ROM on MAME, specifically because I wanted to play as Purple Hagar.
Well, yeah.
So we're going to start with Hagar here, and our boy in purple.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
all right. So we'll start
So good
with
looking.
save state one.
Yeah.
So I'll do a quick pause. I'll walk forward a little bit. We're going to kind of pause and go through step by step here. The first thing that I wanted to start approaching, and kind of the point that I want to bang home the entire time, is mostly beat 'em ups are about finding the safest approach to any given fight so that when situations get really scrappy, you have some leftover health to work with to pull off riskier strats or recover from the situation. And Final Fight specifically has what I would consider to be mid, like middling intelligence on enemies, in that they have a couple different plans. They can like swap between those plans, but they do also have, you can influence them quite a bit. So the first guy right here, I'm gonna kind of use to show off like Hagar's moveset. We've got the typical. Oh, you can't even do it because he doesn't have enough health. We'll grab the next one.
Yeah. Bread's too weak.
So if you notice, you got a 1, 2, 3 hit string right there. Um, that is, I would say, not actually Hagar's bread and butter. Hagar's bread and butter comes from his ability, and in the entire like strategy of this game is going to come down to how you use his Capcom grab, which is when you hold up or down during a punch string. Uh, so it doesn't matter which direction you're holding. Oh, well, there we go, one of these guys, and you'll do a little backdrop. Now you can only do a backdrop out of a punch string, but you can grab people by walking into them, and holding forward you can drop them forward. During either of these animations, you have invincibility, like full iframes. There's actually one thing that can hit through those iframes, and we'll get to that. You have full invincibility um, until I think it's like almost 10 frames after the animation is complete. So
Yeah.
a huge chunk of this game is seeking enemies to initiate an attack that will get you to those invincibility frames that you will then chain together. So we'll kind of sit here and beat up some of these people.
One sec while I let my cat in.
Yeah, no worries. Unavoidable. The first stage is pretty straightforward anyways. You're going to see it 100,000 times because this game is so damn hard. We're approaching the first like mix of enemies that actually mean anything. The rank is so low on that first section of the game. There's not really any meaningful difference to how enemies are like their AIs playing out at all. But what you're going to see here is one of the ways that Final Fight likes to kind of control or take away your control of the game is by staggering the wake up time of enemies. So this first group of people here will stand up in a kind of a random order. If we were to sit and do the save state 10 times in a row, it would go blue guy, gray guy, blue guy, / will always get up last. But generally what you're trying to do is make sure that we're approaching enemies from an off angle, right? So I'm always trying to come at this guy from like a diagonal. I could sit and probably do something like this for quite a while before they're going to be able to tap me. So I'm always trying to get to enemies from like an off angle like that so that I can grab them and then eventually grab those iframes like I was talking about. And then I'm using enemies and throwing them into one another so that I can kind of make sure that I'm keeping them in a group until we are in a situation where Hagar needs to be able to get into the next layer of his game plan, which we'll get into as the game actually gets a little bit more dangerous. When you start to play this faster, what you're going to end up doing is actually doing this back jump, which is another technique we're going to be talking about as we go along. The way that you execute, it's super important, right? Like you saw in my clear, it was the defining thing that got me out of like that stage 5 jam. So your back jump, you don't do by hitting back and jump at the same time. There's actually a bit of a delay on Hagar's, on all the characters, on all of their jumps. You'll see he's got like a bit of a knee bend.
Yeah, I did feel that.
So if you see that little...
I fired up this game for like a second and threw a coin at each character so I get a frame of reference.
Did you...
So I did notice that.
Yeah. Did you...
And I think that's on purpose for Super Joys.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Because you can cancel this frame right here that you see with my knees bent. You can cancel it into a forward jump. You can cancel it into a Super Joy. You can cancel it into a back jump. Hagar's back jump goes so much further than his forward jump, and it's faster too. And on top of that, it has shorter recovery. So if you notice, when I'm landing on the floor, I'm mashing that button. It's taking me a long time to get back up. But when I'm back jumping, I'm just hopping.
Yeah.
So you don't go immediately from... You don't try to hit back and jump at the same time. You kind of do like a plinking motion like you would do in a fighting game. Jump and back. Jump then back. Jump then back. And you'll take advantage of that quite a bit. Generally, I use this to move around. It's a super important strategic tool. What else it lets you do is when you're doing a neutral jump or a forward jump, you can do a jump kicking attack, or if you're holding down and attacking, you'll do the body splash. You can cancel the jump kick into the body splash or the body splash into the jump kick, but when you're going backwards, you can't do the jump kick. You can only do the body splash. This is important because if we go backwards and we body splash, you'll notice that enemies will actually... will actually go the other direction. So we can use it as an enemy sorting tool, whereas if we jump and kick, they'll only go the direction we're facing. So frequently what you'll end up doing is combining your movement to get grabs, to get back jumps, and sort enemies onto a certain side of the screen so that you can then initiate the like jab pile driver loop. So it's a bit of front-loaded information. We're gonna just kind of power through this little intro part, and then I'll start to show you like what kind of choreography looks like in this game, because you can have a fight planned out so well, but eventually the enemy AI will scramble itself in such a way that you are forced to start improvising. And your goal is always going to be to make sure, if you look, I'm just getting these guys and making sure they're all staying on the same side. Even there, well, that's crazy that Gado just did that. these trash cans here will always contain some amount of food. If you collect food while you're already at full health, you get extra points. There's only one extend we're going to get in this game. I would actually recommend, if you're trying to learn this game, that you play with extend every on. It's probably the chief way to like get better at this game, because you will start thinking about getting to food with as much health as possible. And once you start conceptualizing the game as fight to food, fight to food, fight to end of stage, you'll be able to break down how to kind of like manage your resources, which in this game is your health, right? So we're about to meet our first Bill Bull or Raging Bull. There's all sorts of names. I actually don't know. I always just call him the Bull guy.
Yeah.
This is my favorite
Call
way.
him Bill Bull.
Yeah, this is my favorite way to kind of fight him, which is I do a back jump. He approaches from the left side of the screen. I'll grab this knife, turn around, preemptively catch the other guy, and then we're going to have a 2P come up. 2Ps are going to become the bane of your existence. They are one of the few characters whose damage can like triple with rank by the end of the game. A lot of the
wow.
Yeah, a lot of the enemies, their damage doesn't scale too much with rank, but 2Ps and slashes will do ludicrous amounts of damage once their rank goes up. They have 3 things that they can try to do. They can try to bait you backwards. You'll see them do like little bits of dancey movement. They will move in between. They can like read your active and inactive frames, and they will move in and jab you. Or when they're in a group, they will send one of them behind you.
Yeah.
So you always need to
constantly.
Yeah, I mean, you probably saw me drop a couple credits to that as well. You need to be fully aware when you are in that like fight mode that you are watching. Like a lot of beat 'em ups is going to end up being like watching the group while you're autopiloting other parts of your game plan. Like if you are already in that punch like loop, you need to be watching the group. So these guys are going to try to, dash around and move at me. Oftentimes when you're at low rank, look at him going around behind me, bastard.
Yeah. Little sneaky guy.
When you are at lower rank, it's not a big deal. As soon as you feel that rank start to spike, though, you're going to see how much the enemies try to outposition you. Those first 2 fights are super nice that they give you a whole turkey after this. So we're just going to walk forward, slam, slam, slam. Slash will try to block you when you hit him. Early rank, he's not going to block too much. I did actually look into this after I got the clear because I know that you and Alesta were asking. Rank does affect the block rate.
That makes sense.
Another thing you'll see me doing here. Oh, sorry.
So when you approached here, you did the like headbutts on Hagar. I wasn't able to do that. What is the input for that?
So the input for a headbutt is neutral and punch.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. I think I was holding a stick trying to do that earlier.
And even if you're holding like down, you'll do the backdrop, and if you're holding up, you'll also do the backdrop. So holding a direction at all takes that away from you. There's actually an optimal Hagar damaging combo, and I'll pull it off on this guy that's coming up. You'll notice I'm doing little bits of screen scrolling because as soon as an enemy's up, so we'll do jab, jab. Oh shit, I fucked it up. He died too quickly. As soon as an enemy's on screen, even a little, it'll start their wake up cycle. So we can just wait and we don't have to fight the boss at the same time. We're going to do jab, 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 walk forward, smack, smack, jump, and butt. That is the optimal damage combo on like using Hagar, because he can't do a jump in attack and do hit stun like Cody and Guy can. As soon as we walk past the halfway point of this door, we're going to fight Damned. So for bosses, there are like rules that we follow in beat 'em ups. If you approach an enemy from the top or the bottom, they'll never be able to hit you. If you have iframes, the enemies can't hit you. If you are walking on top of an enemy when they're getting up, their first frame you can always grab. Doesn't matter who it is. Well, there is an exception to that, and it's bosses. And when you're tackling bosses in a beat 'em up, we're gonna have a whole fucking section on Sodom. But when you're tackling bosses in a beat 'em up, you need to know what rules they break and how to. You're always looking to get back to their vulnerable frames. So for Damned, he's relatively simple, but what we're going to see is our first example of getting like swarmed by enemies. A little bit. I don't think the proper enemy swarm happens until stage 3 at the start. Excuse me, sorry. But with Damned, there's a little bit of like variability, and even until I cleared, I was still randomly taking deaths to Damned. And that's something you're just going to deal with in a beat 'em up. I mean, you saw me take deaths in the stupidest way. I would get to like stage 2 16 times in a row, and then I would go all the way to stage 6. Like it was that or the other. It's just the nature of beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
So we'll do this guy. So I'll walk past this line, Damn breaks, hit in a backdrop. And if I sit and jab on top of him, if you notice, he was able to punch right through me, right?
Yeah. I made that mistake. I was standing over him. I was like, oh, I'll just get him when he gets up. No, he beats you to the punch every time.
And we can sit and do this 20 times, and eventually he's going to try to just like jump flip on me. Bam, right through it. Jump kick on me. So he gets to ignore the invincibility rule because he's a boss. So what you need to do is always optimize the amount of damage that you're doing to any boss at any given time. So we'll do hit, in a backdrop. We do that because after we've done a certain amount of damage to Damned, he's going to jump back and summon in his enemies. So we want to make sure that we get as much damage in before that summon. Hit, walk forward, hit, jump, butt drag. He's down to 1 cycle of health left. He whistles, he summons people from the door and a couple from the back. We're going to try to clear them up as much as possible. And he's going to come in. Oh, man. He jumped away. The rare jump.
Yeah.
So we summoned both of his groups of enemies. And what you'll notice is he can... So I was in that invincibility frame, right? But he was still able to come in and kick through it because bosses get to break the invincibility rule on your character. So I'll show it to you again.
So, and that's very important as Hagar, because Hagar, more than Cody and Zach, those two only have like 1 grab, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think them like throwing like the body does damage the same way Hagar's does.
No. And
because it's just like a get off me throw.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the extended invincibility frames at the end like Hagar's does. So after you've done the throw, their throw is, but Hagar is at the disadvantage where he can't move enemies far without doing this thing, right? This is the only way that he's really like getting enemies to fly far at all, is to use that backdrop or his jump kick. Those are the only 2 ways you can really sort enemies around, whereas Cody and Guy are able to like actually throw enemies around and use their movement to crowd control. Strike, smack, butt drop. Get lots of damage in as much as possible. Stand in front of this door. I also always recommend using auto fire for these games.
We're like the mashing is very strange in this game. Like if you're just like loosely tapping, you won't punch as fast as you tap as Hagar, I noticed. Like you gotta tap really fast in order to get like the rapid punches out.
Well, and also the kind of shoddy frame rate and programming of this game will screw you over too. You can't just have timing. Like technically, Hagar has an infinite like Cody and Guy, where you do like the like punch thing. But it just doesn't, like, because the frame rate will fuck with you. Like you actually can't pull it off reasonably, or at least consistently. But like there are people, they'll sit and try to do that, right? They'll do the... It's hard.
No doubt.
Yeah, I can't do it. Anyways, so we'll beat Damned real quick and hop into stage 2 before we get too lost in the weeds, because we need a few more complicated challenges to take advantage of the kind of strategic layer of the game.
Damned loved to drop kick, do the somersault kick on me when I was playing. He hit that on 2 out of my 3 credits.
You can go back. Look at that, right through me. What a bastard.
Yep.
We're going to stop this Bill Bull from coming in from the left. And you can, when there's like groups of enemies all coming from one side, you can generally get away with, doing kind of an extended, like just letting them walk into your fists. Like if I sit here, I have a pretty good chance that Damned is just going to walk into it and take the string. But I'm only making those kinds of decisions when I have health to work with. I'm never doing that kind of shit when I'm in the dead zone. You'll notice that I move so much more when I'm at low health because I no longer get to use my health as a resource and I have to hyper focus on my movement. If you were to really want to sit and play this game super duper 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 safe, you would always be moving. You would handle every fight like this. You would be doing this, you would throw. You would move up, you would throw. You'd move around, you'd throw. Move around, you would 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 throw. But the thing is, the game, at least Capcom, is fully aware that this is like the optimal playstyle because it gives you a timer. You don't get to do that all the time because you will run out of time before the end of the game. Or before the end of the stage.
I meant to ask how this timer compares to a lot of more standard arcade timers that tick down.
So the final fight timer is, I think it's, well, we can do a quick check. I think it's like 3 seconds to a pip. We'll wait for it to show the timer. Because it actually won't show up immediately. There it is. So we got...
See, like, it's just hanging on 49 here.
48.
That's what gets me about the timer.
It's almost like it's like arbitrary units of time in like D&D. It's like one turn is 5 arbitrary units of time. Like there's no way you can quantify it, but you need to be aware because the timer becomes an enemy in like stage 5 and 6 especially. But this is also a good time. We can talk about Poison. Poison is a particularly interesting enemy because she breaks the rule. I mean, most enemies break a rule in their own way. Slash can block. Poison, her priority is always getting behind you unless the spot behind you is already occupied. She won't try it. But Poison can jump out of jab string, so you can get like your punch string going on her, and she can jump out of it. Poison will and we can probably like bait this if we look at this Poison on the right. If you get a certain distance from her and you turn your back, she will lock on to you and then do a jumping kick. So let's see if I can get her to do that. You see, she did that little cartwheel and forward jump. She'll do it again on this side too.
Yeah, there it is.
So if you're thinking about kind of the chessboard of Final Fight or beat 'em up in general, she in my head I always picture her as a knight. She is the one who is capable of hitting you from the angles that other characters or other enemies are not able to do that. I find her to be a very high priority target in a lot of fights, and I will generally try to make sure that if I'm facing a Poison alongside another group of people, that I am always managing whether or not she is on the same side as like threats that don't want to move around me. So I always want to make sure that I can get her sorted out so that if any of them decide to cross over, I can immediately get them back onto the same side. And you'll notice the throwing technique doesn't, or the grappling technique. Look at that. She went right through that jab that I just tried to do. She just, so you have to use other people as weapons. And then, she does have a vulnerability right after she does that jump kick. She's always grabbable or strikeable. And she also has the same, like vulnerability as every other enemy in the game, which is after you've done a throw on her, she doesn't have any iframes on wake up. So if I were to just walk forward into the group now, and just not be an idiot, that was just bad timing.
Yeah, this game, when you're right in an enemy's jab zone, you're pretty likely to get jabbed the moment they're out of whatever animation they were doing last. Is what I was picking up on when I was playing.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's one of those like super players slash people who know what they're doing in arcade games, like make it look easy. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna walk up to this dude and grapple, and then I get jabbed, and then I get jab locked a little bit and lose like a third of the health bar.
Yeah, but like what you're describing, I think that's like the initial issue that a lot of people have with beat 'em ups, is they want to walk into an enemy and not finesse their way around their kind of like zones of influence. Like right now, I'm looking at this situation, and I can do a certain amount of prediction, right? So I have my spin about to start, and it'll knock the slash behind me away from the left. The slash from the right's going to keep walking. He's going to get caught by the other end of the spinning. I would bet that the poison, after she lands, is going to try to walk outside of the range of it. Oh, no, she got caught on the way down. But, and another thing about Slash is he may be able to block, but he falls victim to the strike and backdrop loop as much as anyone does. So even if he blocks the first couple of the attacks, if you do hit, he blocked. Oh, I got kicked from behind. But if you do hit, bam, bam, you can grab them. Another thing about the 3-hit loop is it's actually not 3 hits on the same enemy. It's 3 hits total. So the count will always start. If I hit a person on my right and then a person on my left, and then I'm still hitting the punch button and holding down, I can actually use that to switch sides and pile drive. So I'll see if I can pull that off here. I can go like...
This is an important tech later.
Yeah, we'll try to set these guys up in such a way. It's hard to set up with this group here.
Yeah, this is
see that? So that was it.
Yeah,
right
you punched a guy and then you turned around and you finished the string.
There it is.
Yeah.
So you'll use that when you're in particularly tricky group fights. Anyways, quick, just like note on this fight, I always like to back up and get this slash, and we're just gonna sort them this way. This is a good time to take advantage of the huge damage on the... Oh yeah, I haven't explained how to do that. So to do the jumping pile driver, you have to make sure that you've grabbed them, you jump, and you hit punch and down before you've hit the downward arc on your jump. We're going to fight a pretty nasty Gado here. This is the first Gado that has like medium rank. So we're going to try to sort him over. And we are here with our first Andore of the game. In my opinion, this game is defined by Andores or Gados. Poison is terrifying. 2P is awful. Slash is bad in his own way. Bread is whatever. Andore and El Gado always dictate the pace of the fight. If there are two of them, you are playing a different fight than any other combination of enemies. I mean, you're always playing a different fight, but this is the thing to deal with Final Fight. With Gado, he's insanely fast. He does a ton of damage. He's the only character that can outrange Hagar's like punches, like his standard punch.
Yes, his like jab he does is really disjointed. Or is it the stab he does? Or is it both?
The stab. The thing is, he has to pull out the knife first. So there's a difference between no knife Gado and knife Gado. If he doesn't have a knife out, he's more prone to do slides. If he has his knife out, he's going to try to walk outside your jab range and will wait, like the AI will wait until you initiate like a jab string or something like that, and then it'll poke you in the in-between frames. It's really fucked up. But there's another thing that we can take advantage of with Gado, and it's that he gets up so fast. We can use him as a tool.
Interesting. I never noticed that. I mean, like, maybe I did, but I never really consciously thought of that during any of your runs, how fast Gado gets up.
Yeah, so he is a chief tool for crowd control. So we'll just beat through this fight, and then I'll get another save state, and I'll show it off. So we'll just look at it real quick. Like we can go bam, walk forward, pick him up immediately. He got up, or I got slapped in the face like an idiot.
jabbed, but
oh. So grab, slam. He's back up, slam. He's back up, slam. See, everybody else is taking a ton of time. Gado's right back on his feet, which means he's a consistent threat, but he's also a really good tool. And then if you are far away from Gado, he can throw his knife at you.
Yep.
And if you throw
Classic.
him, and he can also do a jumping air dive, which he will do if you put him off screen.
That is the most dangerous move, I think, in his kit.
Mm-hmm.
Is the jumping off, because it flings you and does a ton, which can then, being flung from your nicely organized pile of shpoo heads, it's really not good.
He can also
you're working so hard for control, and then you get flung off and dealt a ton of damage, so it's like a double off back foot.
And you got to just see right there, he was standing right outside my range while I was trying to jab, and he was just stabbing me.
Yep.
You see that? He'll be right outside. And his slide, let's see, what are you going to do here? Look at that. His slide is super active, and he'll do it on your wake up, and he'll hit you before you can do a wake up spinning attack. I should mention the Super Joy, if you don't know, is done by pressing punch and kick together. I do think you should macro it. But one thing worth noting about the frame one. One thing to note about the Super Joy is if you are due to input priority, if you are in a punch string and then you hit a macro for Super Joy, what it'll do instead is I'm mashing Super Joy right there. But instead it finishes my punch string because it prioritizes finishing the punch string instead of the Super Joy. Keep that in mind. You have to stagger your inputs instead if you want to start a punch string and then...
so that's why it wasn't coming out sometimes. I see.
It would happen to me. So what you want to do instead, if you're trying to... I haven't even talked about Andore yet.
Nope.
If you
got another cool enemy to talk about.
Dude, you could write a fucking thesis on him. If you want to wake up with a Super Joy, what you should do instead, and I'll let Andore knock me down here, you should hold kick, and then hold your rapid, your auto fire on your punch instead. Because if I get knocked down and I'm trying to mash Super Joy when I get up, I almost didn't get lucky there. But the only way to get it on the first frame possible is I'm holding jump right now, and then I press punch. So you can buffer.
Yeah, that was the method that I figured out while playing Hagar real quick. I was like, if you hold jump instead of like mashing it, you get it more. Was I noticed for sure.
So we can talk about Andore now. Andore is he can grab iframes for himself with his dash attack, that dash punch that you just saw, or I guess chest slap. So you're never safe trying to walk towards an Andore from like that side. He'll always be able to beat you there. And then he can chain you with OTGs like this. He can hit you off the ground with his butt slam. That is another move that can actually hit you out of the any iframes that you have. He can use his butt jump and break it. Even in the middle of like a fight, if you're doing the backdrop loop, he can jump in with his butt and stop you. So you actually need to anti-air him with your spin attack. Generally, if an Andore is in this position, there's no way I would be able to turn around and attack him before he can step inside his range and activate his super high priority jab. So once an Andore is behind you and this far away, you need to spend some health for Super Joy instead. I just tried to turn around to do it in time. Even with the pause, I couldn't do it. Another thing, though, is Andores can be solved once they're solo.
Yes, I figured that one out. I didn't, not I would say figured out, but I took from your gameplay, which is to hit the old jump kick.
We can do walk forward on his wake up is option number 1, and yeah, what you just mentioned, the jump kick is the safe, incredibly time-consuming way to handle most enemies in this game, because the only way you're winning a horizontal fight with Andore without throwing a knife at him like that is the jump kick. This is the only consistent way to fight Andore if you don't have the angle on him. So what you'll end up doing is baiting him into walking close to you and then doing the jump forward kick like that. Once you've gotten a good feel for how close you are to him, you can then do the walk forward backdrop loop like this. This is how you take down an Andore once you've isolated them. The thing is, you can also do the same thing that you do with Gado with Andore, in that you can use him as a tool to slam through other enemies if you are like feeling super cracked out. Look at that. He just went right through my jab loop there. You can do the same thing that you can do with a Gado, where he gets up pretty quick. And so you can just do like a walking forward jump loop, or not jump loop, grab loop on him. This is me showing off the iframe kind of backdrop loop. And look at that. I'm using, even though it is an Andore, I was able to use him as a tool to kind of slam around on another low priority enemy. So we'll cover that there, or we'll cut that fight there. Now we are inside the train. The train is kind of, I think, where this game starts. It will throw, the rank has clicked up another level.
Yeah, you can tell by the health bars that things are getting a bit more spicy.
And we'll encounter our first one of these guys that won't go down with Simmons is the first guy that won't go down with a jab backdrop loop. For the purpose of this video, this is one of the first like gotcha times in the game. As soon as I cross this horizontal line, if you look in the background where the doors on the train are, there's going to be an Andore who's programmed to enter the screen in his dash punch, or his chest
he got
dash.
me. He got me.
So just there's no. It is unfortunate, but you just got to take it. If I walk forward, I'm getting hit by that. There's no way, like, I can't jab him in time. So we pick our thing that has priority over his chest bump, which is our jump kick. It always beats him. This is a tricky fight. Like, this is 3 of the most difficult characters to fight. It's a Gado, it's a Poison, it's an Andore. What I think that even with the pause here, there's probably no way I can react. I've already missed the.
You have too many frames to jump up.
Let's see if we can hit it. Oh yeah, okay. I guess that was it.
You get the super joy timing.
When you're crossing this threshold, you need to decide if you're going to take down the Poison, or if you're going to tackle the Andore. So, what you'll see I do here a lot is kind of the typical way to handle groups of difficult enemies, which is to sort them up to the top of the screen. Come towards me. All right. And then move towards the bottom and let them walk into you. And we're going to rinse and repeat this. Yeah, they still got up on me even though I had a plan. We're going to grab his knife. Look at that, frame 0. This
I would dash.
Even with a full plan every time, it's playing out a little bit differently. Look at that. Chase me right down. I can walk forward and grab instead and do backdrop loops.
All that you just did to save yourself was just like extremely high level reaction play there. Like you made that awful situation look like you had that under control, but like if you were off by a few frames there on the splash, I don't think you would have gotten through that without getting hit.
Yeah, no, not a chance.
Because that was just that tight.
This is a good example of we can play the train super safe and spend some time by just walking forward and walking back and making sure that when we get spawned by a couple enemies, we're handling them in groups, because if we go a little bit further, we'll spawn the next wave of enemies, which also come from behind. But if I go through, I should make another save state.
As dangerous as they are, poisons are pretty nice, because when they're doing those big jumps and you're in the safe spot, you get like a long window to just kind of like breathe for like a millisecond and figure out what you're gonna do about the rest of the enemies.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I really like them as an enemy design.
And you can actually catch them during the initial parts of the skip too. Oh, but I'll show you. If I were to just like walk forward here, we're gonna get a mess of enemies
Just
spawning in on us.
swarmed.
And yes, we can be Hagar for a second here and just backdrop loop them, but we don't need to play risky for no reason.
No, you'll take a few jabs even if you try to do that sometimes, especially when the rank gets higher.
This is our second gotcha, right on the other side. This is a good example of like planning in Final Fight. I always break these two barrels. I see what I've got to work with for resources. They'll drop something, jump forward and jump kick that Andore. We've got to come back and get this poison. We've got another triplicate of the super deadly trio here. So we're going to have to do some sorting. Yeah. Look at that. Horrible. Backdrop. Grab the bananas. Jump kick. Yep, I didn't even time it right. That's how quickly it can get out of line in this game.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll do jump forward. We'll grab the Roxy. We got to walk forward. Yeah, we're going to have to go up. Jump kick all these guys. Andre. Backdrop loop. Grab the bananas. Jump kick. Jump back. He still got me. That's crazy. We're going to grab Gato. Oh, I didn't time it right. I was going to use him as a weapon. And again, this is where we have to use our... You heard me a lot when I was doing when I was playing through. I would say, shit, we got to do the jump kick loop. Because this is the only safe way to engage Andore. It's like we are locked into the same plane as him. Like he's like a rook in chess, where we are just on his file, and we have been taxed with the time that it takes to continually jump kick him. And I still fucked it up. Let's see if we get something in this barrel. Oh, rare turkey.
Oh, wow.
We're going to do take advantage. This is like groups of enemies where we can pretty confidently just take advantage of our auto fire on our jabs. And then last fight in the train here. This is a tricky one. We're going to get 4 power enemies here. We're going to walk forward, break all these barrels.
I've seen many runs get clipped here. Main issue is you got 2 Gatos, and then this Bill Bull comes in, and if you let him exist for too long, he will charge you, and really disjointed hitbox on it. So like you'll think, oh, I'll just jab him before he gets me. No, you're gonna get hit. You can only really jump kick him, and I don't even know if that's safe or is that super accurate requiring or
Bill Bull. Yeah, Bill Bull. Well, we can go do it again real quick. Bill Bull has a really tricky wake-up game compared to the rest of the fighters or the rest of the enemies, because he can wake up with iframes against a grab. So you'll see him do this little head, that smash move. As soon as that head is out, he is invincible to strikes and throws, and you have more or less...
Oh, he is?
Yeah, a full, straight up. So you've pretty much lost the fight if he's gotten into the startup of his attack. He's like a bishop. Always how I see the game. So at that point, once you're in those situations, you need to be really comfortable just spending your health, because there's sometimes it's better to spend your own health at a static cost than it is to get yourself in a position where you get jabbed 3-4 times and then knocked down, and then you have to wake up into some nonsense. This is the fight leading into Sodom, which is generally, I consider it to be a bit of a refresh. So we're just going to kind of punch our way through some of these people. Axel can be a little annoying. I like to clear these guys out. And this is barrel kick, which we need to talk about real quick. Yeah. There are certain barrels in this game that are lined up so conspicuously that when you walk within a certain range of them, somebody will come up and kick them. It is almost impossible to jab these in motion. It's not impossible, but it ain't easy. So you either guarantee that you can hit it with the spin, or you do a walk forward, back jump, and a body splash, and I still fucked it up. Body splash is the only thing that is consistent against those, but the timing's really weird. Anyways, we'll break these trash cans. We got this barrel here always has a turkey unless you have really uber duper bad RNG. Oh yeah, Molotov guys. I totally forgot about these.
Yeah, these are a very important part of Hagar playstyle. I feel like the way that Guy and Cody deal with these guys is 100% different than how Hagar deals.
Yeah. So we'll go into this real quick. We can talk about Molotov Guys.
The Molly Woods.
Molly, nice. Break these guys. So what they'll do is they'll walk onto screen, they'll position themselves, and then they always throw on like a perfect horizontal line the Molotov with a fire. The fire goes into 3 hitboxes. It's the first inner flames, the middle flames, and then the outer flames. It goes 1, 2, 3 outwards. They have a pretty good upwards and like on the y-axis, they have a pretty good y-axis coverage and x-axis coverage. You generally just want to absolutely get the fuck off the same horizontal line as them. But the other way that you can deal with them, which I'm about to try to show off, is that you can knock their Molotovs out of the air. So wait for another one of these guys to come in. Oh, I fucked it up. Oh, there's only 3 there. I thought there was a 4th one. That's why. You'll see I knocked it out of the air. Oh, I couldn't get that one.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll use that as our example. But we'll come across more of them. Anyways, you need to get through this fight with pretty much full health. Otherwise, you are fucked on Sodom. Sodom is going to be its own little beast. I'm going to try to cover as well as I possibly can. I don't know, FPS. How many times have you seen me die to Sodom? At least 2 dozen?
At least. Sodom has played unfair a numerous amount of times to where basically it gets to a point sometimes you're like watching someone to restart a game. You find a pivotal moment where you like don't pay attention until this starts and then you start watching it. This is that point for Final Fight was Sodom.
So
a little bit of train fight. Train fight sometimes went wrong, so it's about this point where I'm always watching the run, guaranteed, because it either lives or dies here.
Yeah, this is the coin flip when my run starts. I'm gonna try to explain his AI as best as I can and like the different ways you need to do it. I think this is a really important thing to know because if you can get at least a somewhat consistent Sodom, the more consistent you can get your Sodom, the more runs you can get online with having 2 lives in the tank. Although, if you think about it, on my clear, if I had taken a death on Sodom, I would have been able to clear because I still had an extra one. But that you want that insurance.
You need the insurance in this game.
So, Sodom has 3 states. He has both sword states. He has 1 sword state, and he has no sword states. He becomes progressively more dangerous as he loses the swords. He loses the swords. Excuse me. He loses the swords by taking hits, and he will try to pick up the swords after he has done a cycle. He does his cycles after he takes damage, and he will do one of a couple pretty dangerous attack patterns, and then he'll go through the cycle and then go pick up his swords. So what you're going to see is I'm going to walk towards Sodom, and I'm going to show you how quickly I can die here. Like if I just try to fight him straight up. So it's not happening. You do get a free grab on Sodom right when you walk in. And if you'll notice, I can keep grabbing him pretty quickly, actually. And that's because he's in 2 sword mode. But as soon as I hurt him, he now has invincibility on his wake up completely. He picked up his sword again, so he's back in 2 sword mode.
Oh wow!
And yeah, that was insane. That was just random rolls right there. If I try to stand on top
of
him,
all random.
So the only time that he is completely vulnerable to a throw always is when he has both of his swords. Otherwise, it is a coin flip if you're going to be able to stand on top of him like I'm doing right now. Let's see if he'll do it again. And he'll just wake up. I wasn't able to do anything about that. So you don't want to gamble against that, right? And what you're going to try to do... Oh, I fucked it up right there. That right there, that's going to be fight losing, you know?
Yeah.
When he wakes up, he does this dash attack. The dash attack is going to be the like bane of your existence. He'll chase you down. He does like more than a quarter of your health, about a third of it, and he'll always do it off the wake up if you're not near him. He'll kind of go at a bit of a he can't go completely up and down. He has to go at kind of a diagonal or horizontal. So the strat that people tend to use for Sodom is you can manipulate his AI a little bit by jumping, kicking, and body splashing. But it's not perfect. So what you do as a backup, if you knock him down, you do the jump, forward kick, and then the body splash, and he does dash, he will dash underneath you. And what you need to do is land and immediately back jump and then do a body splash again. So I'll see if I can pull it off here. So if you notice, the splash like caught him on the way down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an option select for what he should be doing. And there he jumped out of it, so I had to do a backwards jump splash really quick. He'll grab both of the swords. And I'm in a shitty spot. There's no he's gonna I got super lucky. So he just ends up being super random, and you just want to try to minimize the amount of times that he's even able to play at all. I would kill for a fight like that.
Dude, yeah, I was thinking to myself, I was like, that was... You showed me a Sodom that looked like that one time, and I was like, man, if only.
So, and I do want to show what happens if you end up mis-executing. You need to do the panic Sodom strat that I just did, which is getting above or below him very, like, as far as possible, seeing the direction he goes, and then trying to weave past it. It's very hard to do, but you're going to need to do it because sometimes it'll just happen. And you try to catch him right at the end. He's in no sword mode, so I'm just going to spin because he's going to dash at me.
Yeah, this is the backup strat, is the spin.
What I showed there was option number 2. If you are picking up his swords, you have invincibility. Let me get both of his swords off real quick. It's hard to do, but you what a bastard.
Wow.
I mistimed it. But what you need to do if you're at like the really last chance, there's no way you're going to avoid being in his line of sight, is you stand on top of one of his swords and you pick it up the moment that he dashes at you. Like, you just never want to be fighting him straight up like that.
Yeah, he's very unpredictable, which is the main reason he's so brutal. Because like, you know all of his like ups and downs of what state he's in. Like, you can grab him when he has 2 swords, and you can always super joy him when he has no swords, but he's still just so erratic.
Mm-hmm. Because even the best case scenario, minus the one where I got the perfect loop, which again, super rare, he'll dash out and all of a sudden you need to wrangle him back into the wall. Here's one last thing you can try if you've got him crushed against the wall but you're not confident in your timing, is when he's on the diagonal here, he'll run into his own ropes. But he'll...
Oh, wow. I've never seen that.
It's not super... Oh, God, I fucking hate this guy. It's not super consistent, but it is a way to at least avoid the dash. But he'll, like you're kind of just trapped there.
Can you super joy and tag him with that?
Yeah, and
while
you
he's stuck there.
Mm-hmm, and you could try to reposition.
But even then, it's not perfect.
That was the pick up the sword and have invincibility frames option. So he's just a fucker. You're gonna fight him a lot.
Yep.
There are no words for the amount of practice I've put in to pull off that kind of shit. Like, so much time has been spent. Here's your bonus stage. Always fun. It honestly never gets old. Breakpoint number 1 takes 8 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back jump, and then this point takes 14. Really no reason to get score in this game because you only get 1 score extend, but we take what we can get. Recording starts again. All right. We're back at it.
All right.
So stage 3, in my opinion, is, I've said it a couple times, I think. Stage 3 is where I think the game starts. In that you've gotten through Sodom in good condition. And it kind of, the game has checked if you can handle, multiple enemies at once. It's checked if you know how to strategize against a boss. What stage 3 starts with is my favorite fight in the game, where it will stagger enemy timings on spawning in. It will spawn them in from multiple sides. And it's got a strategic motif. The motif being how do you handle a crowd of people when an Andore is coming in later. So what's going to happen? I should put a save state. I always like to break this barrel because we get some weapons to work with. What's going to happen is I'm going to cross a certain point of the stage, and we'll get 2Ps and Brads coming in from the right, and we will get Slash and Andore eventually coming in from the left, as well as some cannon fodder people. I'm sorry, I got a lot of burps. The tricky part is not like it's how the wave of enemies crashes in slowly. Like you're handling one guy, you're handling another guy, and then all of a sudden you realize you're just not keeping up with the damage output. So what you should be doing instead is sorting enemies. So we've got this first guy coming in, we got the 2P, we've got the bread, we've got Slash, we've got another 2P, and all of a sudden they drop the Andore in there, right? So we're just getting crowd controlled. And I was gonna try to play this poorly, but muscle memory kicked in. I want to show what happens when you're not playing these guys and sorting them, but I almost do it subconsciously at this point. So this is what happens if I were to just focus on one side of the board here, right? And I'm like, okay, these guys are coming in, and you're
like they're the small fry. I'm gonna take care of them first.
Mm-hmm. God, it's so hard to like not keep myself alive. Like my survival instinct starts coming in.
No, you got that subconscious, like, where am I? Where's the groups of enemies? And like the immediate answer.
They try to complicate this a little by having a Slash in the group. I think that's mostly a detriment to Cody and Guy. Hagar handles Slash really well. I'm just going to put everybody over on the left here. And we get into the classic Hagar backdrop loop. We have our iframes. We can just sit here and hold down and decide if an enemy's coming. I need to move forward because I wasn't able to grab somebody on the other side quick enough. Oh, there we go, Andore. He got me. Sometimes that'll happen when you're splitting a group of people. I'll see if I can kind of instigate it a little bit, where you're swinging and you're not catching a person in front with your punches, so you're not able to get your iframes and backdrop them. And you need to really be aware of that, because that was something I just tried to do right there. I walked forward, I started swinging, I locked myself in place because you can't swing and move at the same time. And the group of enemies that I was planning on backdropping into have arrived. I mistimed it. So you need to be aware as to whether or not your hits connect, and you need to be aware when the wave is coming to crash from behind you. If I'm lucky, I can unpause this in Super Joy, but I'm probably going to take a hit from this slash. Yep, I took it. I got hit by it, but I was able to cancel. You can cancel the first frames of your damage animation to a Super Joy and a jump.
Ooh, speaking of Super Joys, we both of us forgot how to explain Super Joy health.
Ooh, true. So what's your? I'll take your take on it.
So the thing about Super Joy that like the reason why I always see Jerm mashing Super Joy sometimes in runs without hitting anything is because your Super Joy doesn't do damage until you actually hit something. And that was something I didn't know at first. You know, I was just looking at I'm looking at Hagar, I'm looking at the health bar whenever I'm watching Jerm play. So I'm like, why is he using the move that sacrifices health on nothing? And then, you know, once Jerm explained it to me, I looked at the health bar and I was like, oh, you don't lose health unless it actually lands. So you could just hit this all day.
But if you notice, even hitting the trash cans, you know, did the damage. It will also, and it's invincible, so you can use it to, like, spin through knives. If they're thrown at you, you can use it to spin on top of fire without getting hit. There are a multitude of ways to use that. But also, the more enemies you hit with it, the more damage you take. So we can do a little preemptive fighting here. You'll see it's hitting 1, but if I'm hitting 2, it takes a little bit more damage. If I'm hitting more, it takes a tiny bit more. It's not incredibly important, but it's the less people you hit with it, the better. So the more of a situation saver it ends up being for you, the more it costs you. Let's fight through these guys now. So a good example of how quickly that fight can turn to shit.
Oh yeah.
So
like you just like blink, and what started off as a fight with like 4 enemies turned into 9 enemies on the screen, and they're all hovering around you, waiting for the blood in the water.
So now we've got like the optimal Hagar situation where we've just got a line of dudes coming at us, and we're able to just start doing the backdrop loops and maintain our iframes. We have an Andore off screen, so we have to run away. We do a jump kick. We let him get a little closer, and we can do the backdrop loop on him now. I love that fight. It's so much fun. It's like, it's just so good. Take note of this tiny, take note of this tiny fight, or this tiny jump. It will be on the test. So we always get some free turkey to work with here. The screen will stop scrolling. We get a Gado from the right. We're gonna slam them down, sort them up a little bit. We get some high health Dugs here. We're gonna want to jump kick him. And knife throw, jump kick. And then what we're gonna get is an Andore from the left and a Bill Bull from the right. The only way that you can stop the Bill Bull head charge is with oh man, I was off. Is with jumping attacks. No grounded attack can stop it. So, good situation here. Unless Andore's not coming? Oh, we must have killed him already. This is the only way that I feel safe engaging them. He can lock you in the same position that Andore can. So, it cost us some time. I don't think there's too much to break down about the bar fight. It's not as critical as the one we're about to go into. So we walk through, and we're in the cage match. Both of these Andores that we're about to fight, neither of them play by the rules. So they don't fight like typical Andores. They fight like mini boss Andores, where they don't have. You can't hit them with the backdrop loop, or not the backdrop loop, the throw loop like you can on standard Andore enemies. Like you can't stand on top of them and pick them up on their wake up frames. And they have a wider range, on like the y-axis, that they can use their moves from. So they've got their own little unique AI, and you can't do some typical strats that you would use against Andore. So what you end up doing, every character kind of does their own iteration of this, where you want to get them in an infinite loop. So we'll see how that plays out. So I do a slam, I catch this guy, and we're doing jab, jab, flip, jab, jab, flip, jab, jab, flip. Since we got them both on the same timer, we actually fucked that up, and I need to jump kick them now. You always need to have one on the ground and one getting picked up. If you hit them both into one another, one of them will use the wake up attack and one of them will stand still, and there's just no way to hit them both at the same time. So I'll show off that fight again.
I want to see this fight if you just try to play it normally.
All right.
Because I don't think people are going to understand the breadth of danger that this double Andore fight has. Because I've seen this fight go wrong.
See, he hit me out of my backdrop. Oh, I caught.
Yeah, this is the kind of chain stuff they'll do. Is they'll just kind of like both, one's like getting ready to strike and the other one's striking, and so you just like in this boned situation. If you don't lock them down like this, they're just absolutely abominable. And even then, you can just get screwed by the game going, I don't like this strategy.
I've seen some players that use the pipe. I don't feel confident in it. I always try to time it by grabbing, hitting once, and then backdropping. It just helps with my timing.
But yeah, typical arcade super player, making it look baby easy. Like it's not the hardest stuff ever.
All right. We've approached the test now. This is the Swag Gado doorway. It's critical learning to be able to booty slam him like that. Oh, you fucker. Come here. Actually, that's a really good. That's a good situation to point out, where if you are waiting for if there's an enemy playing passive, doing a little wiggle to scramble their AI helps a lot. Just a little like that to get them to actually approach you, because sometimes they will just play passive. Like they'll go into that mind. Like I have to have my back turned to him so that he'll even come to me. Actually, getting this Gado is not always so easy. I try to come high and then bring him back. You'll notice this is a good time to take advantage of his wake up time being really fast. Going past here, we have a Roxy and two Bulls. You can either walk forward and try to body splash them both, or you can do this that I think is the smarter option, which is to stop them both from jumping at the same time. We can get them in a backdrop loop, and we'll go up high because I don't feel confident about having wake up frames. Wait for the Roxy to pull in, hit, and then we should be able to catch her. There we go. Not a terrible fight. We get a health refill here, and then we get to fight Eddie. Just a quick little spat of enemies.
Okay. Come on, Simmons. Or no, Doug. I'm stupid.
Okay. So this is specific to Hagar. There's like this little kind of misaligned Doom texture you'll see right here, right in front of my toe. It kind of looks like where the background loops. That spawns in Eddie. Normally, if you cross that, Eddie will start spawning like little goons in the background. But Hagar's hitbox is wide enough that he can activate it before activating the mobs. So then we only have to fight Eddie. The rules for Eddie is he has invincibility on his wake up, and he will strike or throw you if you're too close. So you have to wait for him to kind of cool off a little bit, and then you can throw him like any other enemy. So if I were to try to just like walk straight at him, you'll see what he does here. He hits me, and I can try to do anything, but he got me there, right? So I have to get him first to spawn, and then I go down, and I catch him from the off angle, do a little back jump. If I were to stand on top of him, immediately grabs me. So we've got to cool him off. Go around, grab, back jump, up. Cools off, back jump. Back jump. After we do this next one, he's going to go into phase 2 of his health bar, where he's going to dash around and try to shoot us. So we're going to do another save state here. You'll see he suddenly backs off and he tries to shoot us with a gun. This sucks, right? It's really tricky to move between it. So what you should be doing is trying to make sure that you run up and catch him. He won't throw you on his wake up anymore. So you need to kind of finesse him around. And just chase him down and catch him. He runs much faster, but it's not terrible to do. And then always pick up his gum because it heals your health. Eddie fight isn't too terrible. It's really just making sure you let him cool off during his early health, and that you chase him down quickly when he's gone into the second phase.
Yep.
So this is the industrial stage. We'll have stage hazards with fire here. It's important on this stage, just as a straight knowledge check. If you don't move up or down at all, every fires after the first 2 will not hit you. So we are not doing any Y movement whatsoever, but we do have to not get hit by these first 2 fires. Now every fire for the remainder of this little section will not hit us, right? Like if I immediately move up or down at all, it'll smack me. Oh wait, I gotta beat Eddie again. I didn't save.
Whoopsie.
So if I do just walk in a straight line, these first ones will hit me. That's how they try to like dissuade you from doing that.
But if you just wait.
Mm-hmm. And then the rest of these, we're going to actually kind of use against our enemies because they'll run into them. And then we only need to hold down this one plane. You'll still get hit a little bit. It just happens because they can randomly line up well. But you get some health on the other end of the section. It's not so bad. I generally think of this portion and the section leading up to the elevator as pretty consistent. Just the fights aren't too terrible. Just make sure you're not moving up or down. Otherwise, you'll get hit. And it sucks. You will get an Andore and a Poison here. So just be aware of them. Because the Andore is pretty good at getting lined up with your horizontal. You'll get hit sometimes too, just like me. Come on, buddy. And jump kick method works here as well as it ever does. Just takes time.
Okay.
Excuse me. Oh, got hit by the fire for the end. This is where stage 4 starts proper. So I'm going to do a save state here. These barrels contain 2 meats and 1 weapon. We're going to beat some of these dugs.
More barrel tossers.
Oh yeah, the second rack is barrel toss. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Sometimes the hands just kick in. So we got a freebie here. I'm gonna grab some meat. So this next section we're gonna have 2 bald bulls like attack us after we cross about the midpoint of this background, like the tunnel into the other part of the factory. What you do to not get hit by them, because you're probably not gonna be able to like jab them. They'll just hit you. So we need to go with that aerial approach. You jump and body splash, and then we backdrop one, backdrop the other. He's backing off, so we have to back jump. that was an example of one of those times where you start your jab string and it doesn't initiate and you can't get into your backdrop loop. And I noticed that, so I repositioned, took out the guy behind me because I knew I wasn't going to be able to backdrop him, and then re-engaged in the fight from a better distance. The next thing is when I cross like this little pillar just to my right here, we're going to get another gotcha spawn with the Andore / and Poison fight. Yeah, he got me from the diagonal there.
Just more playing it safe.
And I might be able to now. There we go. So we can go down and around. And we got him into the grab loop. So I just kind of weaseled him around a little bit so that I could make the fight go a little bit quicker. We're going to get a couple 2Ps here. You really don't want to get knocked forward in this section because it'll just keep spawning more enemies. So you really want to hold down the left side of the stage if possible. Otherwise, the 2Ps will just run into your fist. And then this hallway fight ends with a pretty nasty one, I'd say, with some Gados to deal with.
Yes.
And then a couple fire guys as well.
I know Andores feel like, and probably are the most dangerous enemy, but I feel like they're used in reserve compared to Gados, whom there are always usually multiple of, and they're always very dangerous. So I think like whilst individually Andores are like the most dangerous enemies, I think these guys take a healthy second place.
And I mean, they like buff whatever group of people they're in, and because once they're down, it's not impossible to deal with them, or once it's down to just them, it's not impossible to deal with them, but while they're still up and there's other people to deal with, their wake up timing being so fast can only be beneficial sometimes. So generally you want to keep them grounded and use their really fast wake up frames to keep them kind of like locked down. They don't wake up with iframes really ever. We can take another look at that fight. There's so many ways that it can play out. I generally try to get them over to this one side if possible, because then we can do a little jab and bring them back as the next group of enemies are coming in, and then we can just kind of do the two-side tactic. But, you know, it plays out a number of ways. I think this coming up section is actually going to be a good example, because I have noticed that this strat that I'm going to show... Well, first, let's do the elevator straight up, right? So when we're doing the elevator, you have to deal with 4 spawns of enemies. First, we're going to get the drop down, and they're just going to keep coming no matter what we do. Like, we can't just stop the flow of enemies. So they're going to keep attacking us, and we need to keep them short up because we're going to get another group coming in really soon, and you don't want the groups to overlap. And it'll get you, right? I hate fighting. I hate doing this fight, especially at low health. After 2 waves of people, you do get a meet, but then you also have to fight a bunch of Gados as well.
Yeah, it's I was thinking this is one of the examples of a very Monster Hunter like moment, where the game drops a bunch of these little guys on you, and then also expects you to fight the big boss. And it's one of the few moments in Final Fight that really, really like extenuates this. I mean, there are other moments where they do the exact same thing, but I feel like this is the first significant moment, other than Eddie, if you walk forward too far.
And I guess Damned
like,
tries to show it, but it's not as deadly.
He hops off screen. Like,
yeah, oh, true.
He gives you a moment to go, okay, I'm going to deal with the enemies. Well, this one up here, as soon as those Gatos drop, like, you're on that hard timer until Rolento shows up. And if you don't got the Gatos under control, the Rolento is just going to make things way worse. So typically, you aren't, in the fight like this. Typically, when you have full health, you're sitting in the corner mashing jab. Right?
Right. And the reason I'm tentative to try that out right now is because Andore's AI changes depending on how much health you're at, and he can sometimes dash through that jab if you're low enough to go for the kill. Yeah.
I did not know Andore's or any enemies in this game took your health into account.
Yeah, some of them will have like the Dougs.
That's incredible.
Dougs and Simmons will take your health into account and do that. You know that tiny little hop kick they do sometimes? They'll do that to finish you off. So this is what I
typically this is how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Like what 90% of the time I see you do a run, this is how it goes on elevator. Here's the Gados, and you still have Andore to deal with, which is pretty bad. So you're getting up at the top, and Rolento drops down. So now you gotta finish these El Gados and deal with Rolento. But because you're on top of things, you manage to kill all of them. But if you let those El Gados live, you'd be pretty brutal.
So I'll show off Rolento as... Oh man, I might not be able to... Yeah, I have to do it that way. I'll show off Rolento as like a boss. You'll see how the flow kind of works here. Just take into account that most likely you would be doing this with a couple Gados on screen if you're not playing fast. You can be efficient and kill them, but yeah, it's most likely that you're gonna have one or two to clear up before you finish and before you have to fight Rolento straight up. So he does either these wall... Oh man, I'm gonna get hit here. He will either jump into the background for a jump kick, which you can quickly move to either side of. You'll see he picks a direction, you walk, and you grab him. That's a good one. Or he'll do this kind of like after image dash thing and try to walk at you before jumping up against the wall and wall kicking you. That throw right there that you just saw is why Rolento is so fucking brutal. Because if you are remotely within his range, boom, he just sucks you right in. And then he'll do that really active, like, backsplash, back attack.
There was a run where he was up and diagonal of you, and the range is so big, he still nabs you.
Did you see how far that pulled?
It is outrageous how much it pulls. I was stunned that one time that happened.
When he's doing this little fake out walk, he'll start to walk forward, and that's when you need to jump kick. Otherwise, you're watching for him to jump into the background, catch him, and then he enters phase 2, where he's going to run around and throw grenades that bounce randomly, and then run into the background. It is terrifying, because sometimes you can just get caught in bad news. And he's not immediately able to be grabbed. You can only grab him while he's throwing a grenade. Goes into the background, bounces these guys around. And sometimes he'll just do this for however long he wants. Fuck. He got out.
Yeah, Rolento. It's not as bad as Sodom, I don't think, for sure.
No.
But another one where it's like if you don't manage those Gados right, you're gonna lose a stock there, like guaranteed.
Or sometimes two.
Yeah.
Most likely, if you haven't practiced Rolento, he's just gonna eat credits off of you until you realize how you're supposed to kind of fight with him. But he follows the boss rule. You can't just stand on top of him until he's in phase 2, kind of like Eddie. But you have to chase him down. But instead of being easy to chase down, he's fast and he throws grenades. So he's kind of like an Eddie in a different way. Stage 6, right? Stage 5. Stage 5.
Yeah, 5
is you're fighting the timer. It's a really long stage full of fights, and I could sit and break them all down moment by moment, but there's some really key ones that we're going to focus on. So early on in the stage, what I try to do is just back jump past all these people because we've got to get to some of these key fights, and there's really no purpose to extend. And eventually you will hit a spawn limit where it won't spawn more enemies all at the same time, and they will come sequentially. So we can just move that whole wave of people behind us. There's a 2P trying to cross us up. We're not going to let them. And we can just use our jab strings to keep the whole crowd at bay. This is... Since I know that this is fully effective from this angle, the only thing that I'm doing during these jab strings is paying attention to if anybody slips out of the grasps. We're going to fight some Bill Bulls here. So the screen will lock, and they'll just start coming in sequence. So it'll be a dude from the right.
And they're all charging in.
Dude from the left. Dude from the right. Dude from the left. So we have to finish these 4. And then 4 more are going to come in at double speed.
Yeah, this is where they all come charging in. So it's 8 Bilbles. Only one of them wasn't charging in. Very easy to get tagged for, like quarter, half your health if you're not playing super safe.
So if you notice that Bill Bull just used a high rank option where he got up with his headbutt and then hit me, right? So you generally want to... Oh, I saved it, dang. Fine. We'll go back to it. Generally, you want to start that fight with a jumping splash, and you just want to catch each of them, jump splash, jump splash, jump splash, jump splash, and then you'll want to start a backdrop loop on them. We're running low on time.
I see.
Always want to do the spin attack to break as many of these barrels because you want to do it fast. It's actually important. We're working with every single second that we have. Fun little trick here. If we go out and around, we're going to fight 2 Andores. And if we break the barrel, we're going to fight 2 Andores. Oh, no. Is it always going to break it because I mistimed the... Sorry.
Oh, no.
It's all good. I know what to do.
Well, while we're getting back here, I think I owe a bit of context on Monster Hunter stuff because people hear Monster Hunter are thinking like probably the modern stuff, but I'm more so talking about the old stuff, the stuff on PSP. When I'm saying like Monster Hunter, because in those games, you have a lot of these dynamics between the little tiny guys biting your ankles and the actual thing you're trying to kill. And that's where a lot of my affinity for beat 'em up mechanics kind of comes in from, is because I played Monster Hunter, which is essentially it's like a weird 3D beat 'em up. It's not fully a 3D beat 'em up, definitely more character action, but it definitely has those moments of commitment and crowd control that beat 'em ups feature.
How does like the AI work though? Do they have kind of is it like distance based? Is it a randomized kind of set?
Yes, it is distance. It's distance, and where you are relative to them determines the moves and stuff.
Okay.
Which is why when I saw someone playing beat 'em ups at a high level, I was very interested. So this is the barrel with the Andores.
Yep. So if we normally go by this barrel, we'll notice that the Andore from the left wants to come. Oh, dude,
Well, we gotta run back.
No, I got it.
Oh, no, you got it? Okay,
if you
good.
leave the barrel in one piece and jump forward, though, the other Andore gets trapped behind it.
That's very funny. I had no idea. You're just doing that. I for some reason, I have no idea.
You you just get a freebie, and then they'll despawn after a while if enemies are off screen too long. These are some kick barrels that are coming in. And then we're just going to do... I'll show the float because it could take forever to explain all these. So we've got some barrels coming in from the left and the right that we're going to use as our health pickups for the next section. We're going to have to fight a small group of enemies from the left and the right, and then we're actually going to get another wave of barrels. And I'm going to fuck that up immediately. You'll want to super joy those, though. They come in at a random timing. This is the poison hallway, where I'll show what happens. If I just back jump, we're fighting a mean streak of enemies. And they're just going to keep on coming. They're going to keep adding them in. And it's almost too much to deal with, right? You got to, the reason that we save time on this stage. I even fucked that up. It shouldn't be 2, but we'll fight 2. It's okay. So what happens in this section is it's actually based on how far to the left you are, or to the right you are. And the poisons are specifically set up in this section to walk over to your left side and hit you to the right so that it knocks the camera forward and spawns more poisons. Poisons, though, just like Hugo, can be done in this walk forward and throw loop. This is the most efficient way to fight them. We'll get the second, or 4 enemies in, we get a Gado and a poison at the same time. You'll just want to use them to kind of throw around to one another, and then we'll fight a couple more poisons. You just got to take your time. This is the patience game. Yeah. If you'll notice, when I do these drops initially, they do more damage and then they do less damage, right?
I thought that was a health bar display thing.
No, that is how it is. Because Hagar's throws...
So there's move scaling.
Some way. It's actually Hagar's throws deal half of an enemy's life bar. Capped... But the butt pile driver is... like his spinning pile driver, or not spinning, but his pile driver, it will do half of an enemy's total health, regardless, even if it's a boss. It'll do half, and then eventually those halves start to scale, and it will do a minimum of a quarter of an enemy's health bar. Hagar's backdrop and his forward throw will do at most half of an enemy's health bar, not beyond, like the full uncapped butt pile driver version. And they have a minimum of like 15% damage. So as you get closer to the end of a health bar, strikes deal more efficient damage with Hagar. But when you start the fight, the throws will do the most.
Interesting. See, I thought it was a misleading health bar representation meant to like get you to put in more quarters because they're so close on health, but the reality is they still have like half a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
So you'll notice even if I'm taking
more things that I noticed but didn't really.
You didn't put to word.
No, I couldn't quite like. I always like thought of it, but it was like I'm just letting Jerm focus on the run because this game wants to kick your teeth in very badly.
So the music change into this little section. This is just good to have routed enemies come from the left, the right, the left. So you want to destroy the 2 guys who come in from the right and then tackle the dudes on the left.
So the health bars have been going up this whole game. Why are the health bars so small here?
Because there are specific fights in the game that are programmed outside of rank as set piece fights. So it'll generally be these ones where the screen freezes. That fight will always be a static like difficulty or collection of enemies. Sorry, we're gonna rip through these guys real quick.
Right back.
So I actually was able to keep the Gados off the ground enough, or off the screen enough to where they despawned. That was a situation where you don't want to use auto fire. If you noticed, I did my 2 jabs delayed so I could wait for the other poison to get closer, and then I finished the 3 jab string with the Capcom grab into a backdrop so that I was able to hold on to my iframes and extend them a little bit. That's some stuff that you'll pick up as you get, a little better at the game by feel. But it's good stuff to know. Like a lot of the times I am using just my auto fire button, but then, you know, to make sure there's no gaps in my jabs. Oh, don't love that. But sometimes you need to manually just use your I have a single and an auto fire button that I use. Same setup that I have on Cave with focus and bomb, or focus and rapid. Slashes end up taking up a lot of your time, so you do. I think I explained it earlier in the run, but you want to get them kind of inside your punch range, and get the first 2 hits off so that you can get the backdrop. Because if you notice, I punch them and they push away kind of, and then they get outside the range to like finish your little backdrop if they block at all. So let's see if he'll walk into me here. So I got, if you notice, the second hit connected, so then the third hit connected to do the backdrop, but the first one pushed him away too far. So when you're initiating, if you're initiating, you always want to be a little bit closer so that even if the first hits push them away, you'll catch them with the second and third for the backdrop. And that's how you can trump the slash shield. We get a turkey here, so that's why I wasn't too mad about playing wacky with the poisons.
Yep. Yeah, now we're back up to rank. You can see it in how the 2P moves from the preset fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of slow and lumbering, small health bars, back to the nasty ones. Come on.
But it is kind of cool as a pacing thing to like give you a little breather. So Jake is moving weird stuff.
If you saw, I did the little like bait there to make sure that he came in on me. I turned my back on him, and then he came in to attack me, so that I was the one who's. It's like you know, positional advantage where they have to walk into your fist. So I just set him up because otherwise you're walking into their danger zone, right?
Yeah.
Let him get closer, and then we can do the 2 hit in the backdrop. This is where, as we approach from the right, we're going to have to deal with a mess of dudes with torches. So you want to try to knock them out of the air and jump on top of these tires because we're going to use the fire from the Molotov guys. This is actually, I was explaining this in VC. In my actual run, I ended up having to back jump out of the situation because it was too deadly. Because when you're standing on top of these tires, you get to avoid the Molotov people, but the enemies crowd up around the outside. So I try to watch and see what side they spawn to, and then to know what side I can, like, if I need to backdrop in. I come up with a plan based on their position. In this one, I can see I can get through it that way because I knew. I guess that was kind of just by feel, but I knew how to jump into the group, you know.
Yeah, that was very similar to the splash that saved the run in the 1cc.
We're just gonna kind of
which was just an incredible. I guess I never paid attention, mainly because I kind of like this stage goes by so slowly. Sometimes I kind of like space out while watching Jerm play through this stage because it's definitely one of the longest paced game stages in the game. Just through the way that you have to spawn the enemies one by one.
Mm-hmm. And then we have to set
I never saw that strat until you did it on the 1cc run. It blew my mind.
I had to freestyle it there. So this is a set piece fight with 2 sets of 4 Gados. Very difficult. Actually, I'll show. As I'm walking up, God, I'm going to have to do this shit again.
Oh, it's you.
You walk forward, you have this barrel halfway off the screen, and then, oh no!
Oh. Schrodinger's chicken.
Weirdly, okay. I was like, what the hell? So we scroll it off the screen a little bit, and it bounces. You'll notice it bounces it so that it stays on the screen. Our goal is, with the Gado fight, to get them sorted, and if they're not sorted, you're spinning. There was a situation where I did the start my punch string on one side, switched over, and dropped back to the other side. You'll want to try, if there's like a big pile of knives, you'll want to try to leave it alone because there is a sprite limit on the number of knives that can be out, and you can count on, once there's 6 knives on the screen, that you don't have to deal with getting knives thrown at you by Gados anymore.
Interesting.
We leave as many, you want to, I guess that's a classic like beat 'em up skill where you want to always leave a turkey on the ground until you absolutely need it. You want to scroll it off as late as possible. So if you randomly take a stray hit, you have turkey left over to refill yourself after the hit, or you want to stand on top of near it and fight near it as you know you're going into a shitty situation so that you can quickly grab it off the ground, because the ground turkeys, the same, or I mean any food, the same as doing any kind of pickup. While you're picking it up, you actually get additional iframes and you can reinitiate a fight off of them. Oh, that was too far.
Whoopsie.
There it is. All right, so we'll do the Gado fight again.
Yeah, this is one of the most dangerous fights in the game, I'd wager.
Learning how to do this is like, if you were to want to just like level up all of your beat 'em up play at once, this is one of the fights to do. It's like the fight at the beginning of stage 3, and this fight, I would say, and the last like fight before Belger.
Last fight before Belger, the real hardest fight in the game.
If you'll notice, anytime I'm taking any stray hit, I'm going straight to a spin.
Yeah, this feels like second place. Well, actually, maybe this is third for a fight in the future. This is very dangerous. Actually, this is third place, but this is definitely the most dangerous fight with purely El Gados, because 3 you can almost manage. 4 gets a little bit hectic. In terms of your positioning.
Yeah, and especially if they add anything else into the mix. Like, if it's like 4 Gatos and 1 Jake is like brain melting to handle. So a lot of the times I'm trying to just take advantage of the fact that I know they're going to be getting up fast and hope that they get up into my fist. Bunch of 2Ps here. I'm going to leave the meat. I'm going to keep scrolling so that we spawn more enemies. We can't. I would go get the meat, but I'm at full health. Well, I'll get it anyways. Back jump here. Good example, I was using positioning there because they have to come out and around the tires. So I just set myself up in a position where the tires would filter them into me. We're going to get attacked from behind by a couple baddies here. If you're worried about how you land when you're jumping into a group of enemies, you can always remember that you can cancel this into the splash and extend kind of your radius landing into a group. So if I'm like worried about, oh, I might not land with this kick, you switch the style of kicks to extend the active frames. You know, same as always, making sure that I get the group. I'll prioritize movement and positioning before I initiate a full-scale attack.
You could see that 2P, the ranks getting up. So he was doing some funny footwork there.
All right. I love how all the characters like really start to express themselves as the rank comes out. So it's time to fight Abigail. We're going to see a sign that says way out. Abigail is actually just a an overtuned Andore.
Yep.
So we can take advantage of his grab frames. If I try to walk up on him, I lose by Andore rules, right? I can pull a little closer. I lose because of Andore rules, because he rules the horizontal. There's no way. But if we make sure that he has spent some time to cool off, much like Eddie, we can go grab him. And much like Andore, and this is a fun fact, if you ever make an Andore turn around directionally, their AI gets reset.
Huh.
So if you see him have to turn around, like that sprite where he's on the ground, he gets up backwards and then turns back around. That's how I get him into this loop. Anyways, but I recommend you walk forward, you grab him, slam him into the ground, walk forward, and we're just going to make him walk up into our throw range. Do as much
Yep.
damage this way as possible. I'm fucked up. Got to spin because he's on our wake up. He does fall victim to the jab loop, same as anyone else, but he wakes up with invincibility, so you can't just like keep him super easy in a jab loop. But it is possible if you get him on top of a group of enemies, you can do the same thing that you would do had you an Andore in the group. Generally, what I do though is at this point I'm turning around because I want to handle these 2Ps, even if it costs me a little health. He can be hit out of his charge up and dash run while he's with a jump kick. So this is another option if you're really not like feeling confident, is you can. That's also not a good idea. If you're not feeling...
that chunks you for like 70% of your health, by the way.
Yeah.
If you get hit by that charge up punch, you're not gonna be feeling too good.
Oh, and you don't want to move down into him. You want him to move up into you because he can move faster. So if you're moving down, be moving down. If you're moving up, be moving up. Got to get out of this one. I was able to use the iframes of my backdrop there to get him. We're going to get some more enemies coming in, but we're just going to try to finish him before then. Shit. Oh, I didn't mean to save that state there.
Oh.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll pretend that didn't happen. But you just want to clean up that fight as soon as possible. Make sure that you don't... you just want to treat him like a big-ass Andore. He's not a super complicated fight.
Here we are. Final stage.
Yeah, final stage. And it's a big one.
Final stage, part 1.
I will show off something that I wanted to learn how to do, but I never did. You can skip a ton of the dudes in this hallway if you do that back jump technique.
Oh, because there's just too many enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Game can't spawn that. Because there's normally a giant mass of them just crouched waiting for you to get in here. That was weird seeing them not there.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to get the jump on that stage, you can try that insane technique. Realistically, what you should be doing, though, is taking this slower than you've ever taken any section of the game before. Because at this point, if you have a run together... Look at how much damage I just took from that single strike.
Yeah.
And your nerves are just going to be shot, and you're going to be so, like, you're going to have come up with, like, so many creative decisions that you're going to be, like, almost numb to, like, these masses of enemies. And so you just want... That was me... I didn't explain it well. That was me showing off moving forward, like, just the tiniest bit too much. Every single step forward is spawning really like harsh guys, and yeah, these slashes are going to cost you some of your time, but because it's a combo of slash and 2P, we can keep them on one side and just herd them. We'll wait for him to get a little closer so we can hit with both strikes, and we're going to keep going down the line until we get to this group of people right here with the barrels, and we got some kickers here. You unfortunately do not get any meat from any of these barrels. You are like starved of meat in this section,
which is further why taking it nice and slow and steady, extra cautious is like the plan, because you got no meat, and something coming up pretty soon that's going to require some HP.
Okay. We'll just keep saving as we go along.
This is normally when you don't do the jump strat. You had all these guys crouched here that weren't here when the back jump strat was being employed. So you just kind of jab string through these guys.
Every once in a while, one will try to slip out and around the outside. We're just keeping our eyes open for that. That blue guy was about to, but my fist caught him.
We get our first chandelier.
Chandeliers are so fun. All right. We'll eke this 2P on stage. Oh, dumb. Well, if you walk past...
One tap, quarter health. This is where you're going to need the health, is because you got this Andore and 2 Bill Bulls coming in. Really dangerous enemies. And then eventually you got these regular Joe Schmoes and 1J coming in. And this is where it gets out of hand, is because the Andore still got a decent chunk of health by the time all those guys are flooding in. So you got to really focus on getting those grabs, right?
Yeah. And so I guess what I should... Sorry, I was listening to what you were saying, and then I was also kind of just tuned in on the fight because I had to think about it a little bit. So what you end up wanting to do, that's a really critical... Oh, you little fucker. Bam. That's a really critical fight to be able to handle well, because you need even more than that fight for this next upcoming section. They put you into a fight with some Andores that are pretty much like fighting the mental of 2 Abigails at the same time, and then also on top of that another Andore. Like 2 of them are smart, and then one of them is like just a normal one. But that's a terrible combination.
Triple Andore is insane. Second, would you call it the second hardest fight in the game?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I think like the top 3 is the El Gado's Swarm on last stage, and then that, and then the hardest fight in the game, which is later. But Triple Andore, definitely a place where I've seen runs get unraveled, especially just because of the resource. The health is just not here.
We'll take this. I think this is a realistic situation to go with.
We got save states.
Yeah. We get to ride a nice-ass elevator. Pretty much what you want to... Sorry, the tactical goal of that fight, though, is to sort the enemies in such a way so that it's a pretty skinny line across the screen, and then just do a backdrop loop. None of those guys are really going to be trying to break you out of the backdrop loop. We're about to fight a bunch of Bilbols right as soon as you cross the threshold.
So if that fight wasn't as dangerous as you thought it was, here's 3 Bilbols all charging. You have to jump, splash them or kick them to not get just immediately plowed over.
Yeah, we had a nice one at that one. All right, and then we get a jump in 2P and poisons. I intercept them. Whoever doesn't get broken, I put over on this direction because the poisons will try to jump in on us. And then I grab 2P, beat up 2P. So we're getting a bunch of Andores here. What I like to do, so if I just walk forward, bam, 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 they spawn them in, right?
They run in and they do the chest slam.
If you get too far, it'll bring 3 at once. So we're going to circumvent both of those. Bring them down. We're going to get them started in the jab loop. Didn't have it perfectly lined up, so we're going to split the pile there. And we're going to walk down, and we got to spin. He's going to dash off screen. Yep. Could feel it.
Yeah. Can smell it sometimes when an enemy's going to do something so mean.
Did you see there that because my health was lower, he was able to do a chest attack to just like finish me off? It went through my jump attack.
Yeah.
So good example of Andore's AI getting better as he well, not better, but more aggressive. Man, that really spaced me. More aggressive as his health gets lower. There we go. Oh, we didn't do it in time.
So what's your decision-making process with this particular Andore fight?
What I want to do is, if I can't nail the intro backdrop loop because one of them decides to walk out of the range, I have to spin, and we have to move up to the top and hope that I don't get punched, really. But that's not true. I don't always go for the hope strat, because I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I'll back jump here. and then move the fight to this direction, and you still got to pull off a really fast turnaround. It's like you just have to be fully aware of when you're going to be allowed or expected to switch sides and then switch to jump kick mode, which they're both low enough health now. I think we can get, yeah, they should be in sync. So the tactic works for groups of Andores as well. Oh, look at that. Bunch of bastards.
Yep, they did. They desynced, and it's over.
Here's the other option that I've seen before. Oh,
you were demonstrating me this one time where you just kind of rush forward. And you're doing that so you can get the J's, so you can just constantly be in your back throw iframes.
Yes.
Using enemies as weapons and safety.
So that's option 2. It does. I mean, it obviously works because we're coming up on some meat, right? So we want to take this part nice and slow.
Yeah, but get through these 2 P's and J's first.
And then the slash pile.
Oh yeah, the slash pile. You're right, the slash pile. Slash pile is one of my favorite things, like visually in the game, because it's just the way it ends up playing out solo is very funny.
Now, if you notice, the old tactic of letting them run into our fist works pretty well as long as they're herded onto the same side. Just watch out for any flanks.
Oh yeah, the fire guys. I always forget about these guys too. This is the last Mollywood pile.
There's one more in this screen
section.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, but there's the screen right before the final fight. The final fight.
The final fight of Final Fight. Of course.
We're gonna get our barrels. Oh nope. Here's the slash pile.
Yeah, the slash pile. This is where you gotta be a patient person, or else you just risk it and you get chunked for like a quarter of your health because the rank's so high.
What you can do is what I just did right there, where if you see one eke their way to the front, you can snag them and do a quick grab. And then once they're low enough, if you're checking their health bar out, once you've done like 1 or 2 more punches on them, we're going to just backdrop them to finish the fights. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Ruby. Stop it. No.
And there's the meat with the backwards barrels. Are those ones on a random timing too?
Nope, they're screen space. So as you
they're
walk
fixed.
Do you see this triple lineup of palm trees right here? Once you walk past the rightmost one.
The back ones roll in. This is where we typically I see you do the grab release grab thing on the Mollywoods.
That does work. I probably shouldn't do it all the time because I've gotten caught where they dropped out and then they immediately threw their Molotov. But it does work when there's fewer of them and you can react to it. There's a bit too many right there. This is a brutal fight, straight up. If we walk in, you'll see we get Gados from the middle, Poisons from the right, and it's just you're choosing which group to take down because you can't take them all down. So I think I fucked that one up too. I think you should take out the Gados first if you can, but take every single one of the poisons you take out is like also so helpful on the mental. Like they just make the situation, they take away spots from your future because you know they're going to be hopping in and it's long, like that same advantage where it feels long and active where you're like, okay, I can like breathe and think. It also, you put them away at a different part of your mental RAM. Excuse me. I've been talking for a while. We're gonna.
Yeah, I've been sipping on the remnants of the ice from my iced tea.
We got a pretty complicated fight where it's a shitload of 2Ps. Don't take it like I just did. That was really dumb. You should just be inching forward.
But yeah, inching is the name of the game on this section for sure because it just gets ridiculous here.
We get
and more importantly, the health rationing it's pretty rough. There's a lot of segments in here where there's just no health
So we're
for a
about to
while.
get to our first chunks of health, but we got to fight our way through the Bill Bulls here.
Yep.
Fuck that
The
one up.
quad charging bilboes.
Generally, I try to get them in a punch loop, like so, but you might run into that situation where they can, if they get a good angle going and they start headbutting, you're in a shitty spot. I need to jump kick this guy because of how I placed him. There's no way.
Mercifully, you do have time.
That situation that you just saw where you jump kick and miss and they never walked into your jump kick, you either need to spin or immediately jump kick again. Because there's no way you've like locked into their attack range and they're going to pull off one of their attacks. It'll either be their fast attack, which you'll counter with the jump kick, or it'll be like a walk forward jab. So you need to immediately do that. There's no way you'll get out of it. You need to immediately jump kick or switch to a spin. That'll happen all the time. You jump in, you miss. You got to get used to like that kind of motion right there. All right, here we go. We can spin these guys for the meat.
Yep. If you miss these barrels, you do not get food. So, pretty important.
We're going to get some more barrels. All right. Now, I could be a good person and be like, oh, you should fight this next section. But we're about to be jumped on by 2 more Andores and 2 2Ps. We can't deal with that. You need to practice your back jumps and instead despawn these guys. It's not worth the fight. We're still going to have to see some barrels come in, which we're going to spin. And if you're lucky, sometimes you'll also get some food there. But we're going to kill the 2Ps, and we're going to fight a pretty nasty set piece. We're going to pull over to right here.
Nastiest.
Bill Bull's going to come in. When we were back at the start of this, I showed, like, if you were trying to play super safe, this is how you would be playing. Like, where you're always moving and throwing and moving and throwing and moving and throwing. That is the mindset you need to be in for these kinds of fights. You're not always going to be forced to use like that kind of decision making if you have a good feel and like routing for a fight. But with ones that are this complicated, there's no way to like play risky and always get through to the other side. So that was a situation where I moved a ton until I had the entire crowd put onto the top or the bottom of the screen. Oh, I fucked up the jump. To the top or the bottom of the screen, and then I got into the jump loop. That is something that I'm comfortable pulling off. But you have to know how to position the enemies. And I messed that up. Like, I shouldn't have loaded that save state. I didn't need to. That was force of habit because when I was practicing this. But you'll see I'm trying to get into this strike loop, and I need to be smart about it because if the crowd breaks, then I need to like abort and reposition. But now that I've got them in the position where I'm digging them off the side of the screen, you'll end up doing this a lot. And that just does a shitload of damage and keeps you invincible for so long. You've like solved the fight, so to speak. Take the pizza. We're gonna walk. Oh fuck! Why did I load it? I'll do it again. I don't care. I keep fucking it up. I gotta remember to save there. We'll see if we can do it again.
Very good spin.
Okay. So we're going into the Triple Gado Fight. Just keep inching your way forward. It'll drop down 3 at one time. Technically, you've been in a more difficult situation in terms of how many Gados, but never Gados at this high of a rank. So they're just gonna nickel and dime you for health.
They're gonna hit you with the little jab. They're gonna go for the vertical shank that just goes so far, or the horizontal shank.
And
if you knock them off screen, they'll do that jump, which is really dangerous at this rank. because they're dealing so much damage with it.
We're gonna go to a big old barrel kicky section.
No food.
No food. No food.
Which is, again, why this is such a brutal section of the game, because there's just nothing. You get one heal, and then they're like, till you get to that other door, yeah, nothing.
So we're fighting. It's another delayed. Yeah, it's a delayed spawn situation where they keep throwing in some real complicated mixes, like having to deal with this poison and then the Gados in at the end. So you really want to be on top of dishing out a bunch of damage, because you want the screen as clear as possible before these Gados.
This is typically a run killer if you didn't manage your health really good up until this point, because the Gados and everything else is just dealing so much damage because of the rank.
Yeah.
That you'll be like at this health, and you'll get like 2 tapped by anything.
Jump on top of some barrels, avoid the fire. We're going to be inching. Yeah, you should be chilling. We're going to be inching forward to handle the first small wave of dudes. They tried to send one around me. All right, we're going to keep inching. We're going to get more dudes from the back here. We're going to pull off a back jump if we can. Had to spin there because I just wasn't in the position to handle both sides. That's why the back jump is so useful. I was surrounded, and I just decided that I would rather engage the two 2Ps because I just couldn't positionally have them chase me down. We're going to move forward. We're going to get some barrels coming in from the left. This is your last chance to get health.
Yeah.
We got nothing.
Oh, wow. I've seen you mess up the timing on the barrels, because is it random or is it preset?
It's random.
Yeah, because I saw you one run that was almost there, trademark, where you missed the spin on the barrels. I was like, no, those are guaranteed to have health. I did not know they could have no health in them. That's insane. They messed up.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So we're fighting the last wave of fire dudes. This is when I do the hold thing. It just keeps one of them from spawning, and then you can use the back jump timing as a way to get iframes, and so you just use his corpse. This is the last fight in the game. It is the culmination of everything that we've learned so far. It starts with 2 Gados, which is crazy, and then it will progressively spawn in enemies on both sides. Yeah.
All of the dangerous classics are here.
Yeah, I'll keep the fight going. I don't need to restart because I have some lives to work with. But generally, you already want to be initiating this fight. The Hollywood jumped on top of me. There's no way I could have gotten out of that. The best way to handle this fight is to either be in your backdrop loop, be moving the crowd. I keep fucking this up. Moving the crowd up or down, or spinning. Those are your options, and they're all at such high rank.
Yeah, the thing that we've also neglected to talk about with Gados and why they're so dangerous is because they leave all these knives everywhere.
Yeah, true.
Which they're little landmines. Like if you step on them and you're trying to do a jab combo, you will pick up the knife and you will get punched in the face for picking up that knife. Constantly. I've seen it many times in Gado heavy engagements. Jerm just getting absolutely screwed by a knife being like at the wrong spot. Or the worst case scenario, the knife going on top of a piece of food in a lot of the earlier fights.
Oh, true.
Like bar fight can go wrong if you manage to get a Gado knife onto your steak or a roast, which really sucks. Because the meat's supposed to heal you, and then you go down and you knife.
After you clear up that fight, really practice that fight so much. You'll learn so much from it. I should go back and do it again and talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna put a
guaranteed double meat here.
I'm gonna throw this on Y. Let's see. Did I put it on 6? It's really smart to somehow get some iframes to work with, so that by the time these Andores come in, you have like the invincibility frames to avoid their initial like dash attack.
Good spin to avoid the Gado jump.
And it also has the pillars here, which make the enemy. It like hides the enemies behind it. If you're
Oh
getting
yeah, so it's hard to see their intent.
And at the end of the day, we can do the same thing that we do with all the Andores. So it's really like everything we've learned to the nth degree. Come on. Oh, there it is. We got to move forward, catch this guy, spin again, jump. Yeah, we're not getting out of that one. Do some hit loops as much as we can. The Hollywood was on top of us. He was sliding. There was no way we could avoid that.
Typically, how I've seen these runs go is if you have a full health bar, there's a chance you can get out of this fight alive on one stock. But if you are like about this health, you're probably gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Like the health you was before you just took the 2 hits recently, like the 2/3 mark. If you're there, most likely you're gonna die because you just get hit looped a little bit. And there's just nothing you could do sometimes.
And you're always expected to like spend some. And look at that situation. The Gado backed up outside of my jab string because I was trying to grab iframes off of him and it didn't work. We're gonna try back jumping here. We'll do some throw loops. Nope, he can jab me before I can even get the other one thrown with invincibility frames. Standing outside my range, why not? So even with knowing what's coming, there's just some stuff that's going to happen that you can't avoid. The one way that I've tried when I realize that they've got their, like, they're in their footsie range mode is, oh, look at that. I picked up the knife. Is when they're in, like, footsie range mode, you want to, God damn it, see? Just standing on top, you'll pick up the knife and you'll lose your jab string. Is you can try to jump kick forward, or if you notice that it's happening, just immediately spin.
Yeah, this is kind of the ideal here, is doing that big long back string, but because it's so many different enemies all getting up at different times and being in different states of vulnerability and invincibility, it's just so messed up. Truly the hardest fight in the game. Yeah, at the end of the fight, having all these knives lying around is actually useful against these Andores because not easy to engage from the front. And well, I mean, you don't really have to worry about time too much, but
if you had been playing, super slow, we'll go up and around, grab him,
just camping you
out. We will load from the save state where we're at full health just to make sure that Belger's playing nice. Practice that fight. You'll learn everything you possibly can from it. You need to be putting together everything of moving, keeping all of the enemies like positions and danger spots in place. It's so hard to explain all of the things that you end up using there because at the end, I guess if I'm wrapping around all the stuff that I've just said as I've just been info dumping, at the end of this like whole process, I realized that it is just being in like the beat 'em up mindset, like being aware that you're playing by all of the rules of the game, and then you'll have these moments where you dip down into like niche situations where you're fighting a boss, or you need to know where the enemies are going to be coming from, specific gotchas, so like a little bit of memo if you want to call it that. Once you're at that point and you have, I guess, the mindset to be taking all of these things into account, that's like where you'll start to see what the design within each of these individual fights is like trying to test you on. And it's hard to kind of like verbalize it because the fights are so like the information is not via words, it's like via actions, and you feel it out at that moment. So when you're at that like last fight you're probably going to have to take advantage of the fact that you're going to lose some health and you're going to spend it until you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to take a few jabs on the way to get this new position. I have to do that, but I have the health to work with. I have an extra life, whatever. You have to use every single resource that you have in the game. And be willing to spend take advantage of the time where the enemies are knocked down and pursue them. While they're knocked down, use your iframes that you get when you respawn. Because you respawn, it knocks all the enemies down. You got to use that every single second. It's just full brain, and it took me so long to get even back to the point that I was at before. And then I had the knowledge of the game that I could use. I could sit and explain all of the strats that I have down to the exact minute detail, but if you can't follow up on that, then the strats don't mean anything. And I wasn't able to follow up on it, and that's why it took so long for me to get this, even after I've done it before. I just had the knowledge and not the muscle to pull it off. It was crazy. This game's so cool, though.
Yeah.
This is the Belger fight. He plays by the speed rules that Rolento and Eddie have, where they're trying to constantly move to the kitty corner of the screen from you, and instead of throwing grenades, he's back on the Eddie juice where he's shooting, but instead of shooting, he's shooting harpoons, which are way faster and more deadly, and have a higher Y value than Eddie's gun bullets, so they're harder to avoid. He is invincible on wake up until he's made an action like a jump or a shot. Then he's not invincible after that. But if he wakes up with a shot of the harpoon, he has invincibility still, and he'll beat whatever option you have. So you have to bait him into a movement option before you can strike or throw him. So I'll move forward. He'll spawn in with the chair. Look at that. He got me. I got him. I have to backdrop. He'll do the jump, and then I can strike him, right? If I try to get him off the ground, it doesn't work. He has to do a movement option first, and then I can get him.
These harpoons, he will literally just stagger lock you. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
Which is why
you can try to wake up with attack or with a super joy, but it's probably not going to happen. So what I try to do,
well, then he just shoots you again, because once he's lined up, he's just gonna be finger on the trigger, just going crazy with it. And that's why he's so dangerous as a final boss. Even though once again, when you go watch the 1cc, Jerm makes this guy look like an absolute clown, right? What a pitiful joke of a final boss.
Jesus Christ, my dog just scared the shit out of me. Seamus, come here, buddy. They spooked me. I was too into it. I forgot that I have them. Hey, puppies. Gotta be quiet. Okay. But, oh, shit, I forgot I was in the fight.
Yep. That's the jab block happening.
I oversaved the situation.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. We're going to do one more. Because I completely fucked up. I needed to show off how to actually initiate the Belger strat.
The right side of the screen strat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will take the death. It's fine. We don't need to finish with 2. This is probably how the run will go, when you're there.
Belger can steal a stock from you, but typically Belger is not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
This fight. It's always this fight.
It's this fight and then pulling off this strat. But even
Which
if
does
you don't
take a good bit of execution.
Yeah, but even if you don't pull it off perfectly, there's backups that you can do. So I try to get him kind of bounced away from the wall a little bit, and then I move up into the corner and we'll strike him. And then I try to catch him as he lands. Damn. Phew. I keep fucking it up. He'll take a stock off you. I'm scrambled now after all the thinking. Let's see if we can get him. He'll jump, land. We do the strike throw, jump, land. Once you've gotten him low enough, hold him against the window and spin attack him. Oh, I think if you nail it perfectly, you can. You're just always trying to make sure that he does a movement option before he shoots. So get him in the jab string.
Once again, not trying to stand right in front of him at all. Yeah, I wonder how many quarters this guy stole from people back in the day.
I can't even imagine, like, just to learn it in the first place. Shit.
Just the way he just on wake up blasts you is just incredible to me that they put that in the game.
Like, yeah, if you're not, oh, fuck, man, it's hard to pull off. How do you like that one?
That was pretty solid.
You see the iframes in the backdrop?
Yeah,
you can do a fun little glitch. Anyways, I know I went a little silent at the end of that. You have to think so much while you're playing. But it's, I don't know. I feel like I could say so much more. I hope I caught a lot of like the fundamental concepts and ideas that you're actually trying to do, as well as provide some insight into the game.
You went into the weeds, I feel, just enough.
It's just such a good game. It deserves its place in like this echelon of like beat 'em ups you really should play. Like it's total bullshit, and it doesn't care about your money or your self-worth. And it's random sometimes. Not sometimes, it's always random, but it's random in a way where you feel like if you had made some kind of better decision, you would have been able to account for that randomness.
So on the topic of clearing this game, and beat 'em ups in general, I remember the thing that stood out to me when you were first explaining how beat 'em ups are, was that as a novice player, you are expected to 2 or 3 CC a game. Like, and that's the achievement, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel like if you got Final Fight down to $1, you should be feeling yourself. Like, serious. I'm not even kidding. That is, I'm over the moon if I get $1 clear in like a beat 'em up that I'm playing for the first time by Capcom. Like, that would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think beat 'em ups are in a nice location where you can also pretty consistently get good feel for the game while credit feeding. Like sometimes the resource distribution in like a shmup or something like that will give you a lot of bombs to work with, or like it'll give you, I don't know, it's maybe a certain kind of resource. But I think in beat 'em ups, eventually you're just cutting down credit count. And there is some rank reduction, but I think more of your game knowledge will start to pull it together, of like knowing the routing and everything. And then your overall skill as a player starts to plan against the enemies as if they have high rank anyways. And then earlier in the game, you can play a little faster and riskier because your strats don't need to account for that level of like high tier play. And it helps with like just reducing the mental strain of the game, that the more that you're accounting for the most dangerous options, the less you have to fight your way out of some bullshit. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's just such a good game. I highly recommend it to everybody. And if you you know, if you have any questions about beat 'em ups in general, please like put them on a comment or something like that, because I can't even think of all the things I didn't cover. I just spoke from the heart and then let FPS ask questions.
Yep. I felt like you organized stuff to where I could just kind of sit on my haunches here and just kind of watch the fireworks. So one thing I wanted to quickly, I kind of wanted to do this at the start of the run, but you were kind of like already too off to the races, so I was like, yeah, we're kind of out of there. So you said something the other day about Hagar having extra enemies because he's such a beast, right?
Yeah, having Hagar spawns a few more like Brads in certain locations. I think you get some extra slashes. They'll definitely throw two Ps at you every now and then. And if you're playing co-op where you have like a Cody and a Guy, you get the same enemy formations that Hagar gets straight up.
Wow, that's that goes to show how they knew Hagar was pretty strong, because because I guess just on paper, grappler being able to have iframes while doing a devastating attack that also does crowd control, you kind of would just make an easy game if you didn't account for that at all.
Right. And there's the, the idea that, well, Hagar doesn't have his when you get into his backdrop loop, it does not immediately solve a situation. Yeah, I know Capcom was aware of this, where Cody and Guy, if you get them into their infinite jab, the situation has become solved, as long as you haven't, like, there's no singular one position for Hagar where if you get everybody on one side in with Cody and Guy, that was a situation they were standing outside of my range. I should have spun or jumped forward. If you do if you get them all to one side and you're getting your infinite off, you've won that fight, that situation. Hagar never really has that, but in return, if you give him more enemies, he can often use them to just gain control of, like, use their variable wake-up timings to keep himself in the infinite backdrop and everything like that. And you saw me do that with the stage 6 fight after the Triple Andore, where I moved into the 2-piece so that I would have more fodder to work with. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Capcom was just on the fucking ball, knowing that this character operates on the corpses of Brad.
Yeah, I feel like a lesser beat 'em up developer, say like, no, I don't have enough authority to say for certain, but like something like Data East, I don't think they're gonna like account for something like that too easily.
No,
because they just don't strike me as a company that's going to just catch up on these tiny little nuances that make Final Fight such an interesting game. And this is why beat 'em ups in general to me are kind of a messed up genre, because if you spin a slot machine and you get a random beat 'em up, it's in the air if it's going to be designed properly. That's why Final Fight is such a impressive game, because it set a lot of these things in the games. Like one of the only tropes I can think of off the top of my head that isn't like in this game is like whip girls.
Yeah, that's true.
Like whip ladies, like that was not them, but like, damn, they got close to getting everything that became standard in beat 'em up in this one game.
In like,
which is impressive.
I was thinking of this example, like trying to think of why I guess Final Fight appeals so well, and I was like, I should do a silly chess comparison, but I do have a silly chess comparison. And not in the exact same way. It's more of like, how did Final Fight get chess so right? Where there are so many like abstract board games that are, there's like chess, there's Go, but then there's also people who've tried to make like Corridor or like Quarth or something like that. And it's why is like chess so permeating? Why is Final Fight so permeating? And it's because it has just enough. Every single element is just so absolutely necessary and well designed that you can feel the like inspiration that it had on everything around it. And once you've tasted it, you're like, well, I mean, do I really need to? If you already played Go, it's like, do I really need to play chess? I already played Go. If you've already played Go, you're like, do I really need to play Go? I've already played chess. You do end up enjoying more as you go along, but you see the entire lens of abstract gaming or beat 'em ups through Final Fight, through chess. Like, it's like what you started with. And like the way that it puts all of these like simple pieces together into like just unique situations, and the design is tight and it's jank in the right spots, and it's just good, man. I'm sorry, I'm gushing. It's so fucking good. and really no one hits it like Capcom with the beat 'em ups. Like,
No, and to further that, the reason why Monster Hunter has these same kind of beats, like it's the subtle things, right? Hit stop, making you like take longer in an animation. That got translated to Monster Hunter. Enemies acting different based on your position and distance. That made it into Monster Hunter, like a completely different game series, especially in how it is now. Like that kind of stuff was there. Started here.
mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool because out of this entire discussion, I've gotten appreciation for this game and also those early Monster Hunter games now, where it's like when I'm fighting all the little Velocidrome looking things, whilst I'm fighting a big giant flame breathing dragon thing. Yeah, I'm like, this is some of the same kind of DNA there, because they kind of came from the same primordial game soup
Of how do I make every what is like, yeah, like what is an action game? Like, what is a game where you're fighting things supposed to feel like, and how can I make every moment of that like matter? I should try some of the other Monster Hunters. I never messed around with them.
Yeah, I'll have to show you Freedom 1 and how it infinitely respawns the little enemies, which makes me convinced that it's got that beat 'em up roots, is because they made sure that the small enemies were in there. Like, you can't just avoid them, or you can't just like kill them all and then they're done forever. And those kind of dynamics, but the other thing that came to mind about Monster Hunter is the way that enemies are always dangerous from the front, and people don't like that. You said that. And I see that in Monster Hunter because there's a thing called an insta-charge, where monsters will see where you are, and once they rotate into position with you, they're going to do like a move like a fireball that takes a while to come out, or they're going to like run up to you. And that run up to you, it will deal damage on contact, kind of like these Bilbols.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to play around that. It changes how you approach a monster when they're standing still, because they can do anything, much like how these Bilbols are. And so that's why you approach them, like Andore is, you approach them from the sides, because you know the front is a dead zone. So like on Abigail there, where you were going up and down because you were trying to avoid that, like that translated to Monster Hunter in a weird way, even though it's a 3D game, as opposed to a 2D plane with jumping. Well, I guess it is similar 2D plane with jumping, but you can move the camera in Monster Hunter, which makes it significantly different in terms of how it like ends up playing. But it's still got that same kind of vibe, and it's weird tracing this DNA back. And I know that action games did spawn from this. The action games spawned from fighting games and beat 'em ups thereby. And so it makes sense how a lot of this stuff got there, but it's like, when you sit back and look at it, it's just kind of impressive how you can trace this stuff back. Which is why when people, just talk low about some games that were at the arcades, it kind of gets me, because that's where it came from, and not just in that was a video game. It's like no, the ideas, concepts, balance, choices that you and the developer made did eventually get used again.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it very interesting, which is part of the reason why beat 'em ups have been such an alluring thing for me, is because of how many different genres they kind of branched off into.
Mm-hmm. It is a game.
So and another thing I want I mean, there was a period of not a whole lot going on. Did you see the arcade one-up cab for this game?
No. Does it look good?
Well, it looks like a Final Fight cab, but more importantly, I just wanted to point out how it seems to be one of the best in terms of variety. It's got because all the arcade one-up cabs, I'm not sponsored by them, and I don't really think their products are for me because I'm just more interested in building my own arcade cab. But they got Final Fight, 1944. It was either Ghouls or Ghosts and Goblins, I forgot which, and Strider. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of variety. Because like normally with these cabs, it's like, oh, you get Street Fighter and a bunch of other Street Fighter, or you get like the typical Namco stuff. Like that's kind of a stacked loadout of 4 arcade games. I just thought that was pretty interesting.
Sponsored
I was
by
randomly
Arcade.
watching a video on them. No, I'm not. No, I was watching a video on why they're kind of eh. But I saw the Final Fight cab and I was like, no way, I'm gonna be talking about Final Fight cab. But yeah, just a little interesting side note.
And that's how you lose a fucking Rolento fight.
Classic, classic. He can be a prick sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
most of the time you can like deal with him. It takes a while, but you can deal with him. But sometimes he'll be aggressive and just kick your ass, and then he'll do the grab, and then you're just like, oh, why do you have to do the grab?
That was so fucked up. I was playing so good. All right.
So, another quick random thing.
Oh, please.
While it's on top of my head, is about the other characters in the game. Cody. The thing that I noticed, that I questioned at first about El Gados and just in general how common knives are, until I put it in a quarter in the machine, was like, why are there so many knives in this game? And then I learned that Cody can like do knife stabs. He doesn't throw the knife.
Mm-hmm. His knife will flash like red when he's within range of an enemy, and he won't throw it instead. And he can outrange the Andore stab and the Gado stab with his own knife.
Wow.
Yeah, so he can play a different game altogether. And Guy...
Yeah, which is further reason why this game is so cool.
Guy can swing the sword faster and do more damage. Hagar does more damage with the pipe.
I never knew. I never knew that he did more damage with the pipe. That makes sense because they made all the drops have a reason. Interesting. Just more cool little design quirks. Also nice Sodom. I wish we could have that on a real run.
Yeah, that was rare Sodom. But anyways, I think that's what I got. Thanks for chatting with me. I hope and thanks for being there when I got the clear too. That was sick.
No, it was awesome. I'm glad like I said, through you explaining a lot of this game, I've now unlocked. You know, in the back of my head, I've always been like, oh yeah, Monster Hunter's beat 'em up adjacent. And then like as you're explaining how this game works, I'm like, oh no, it's very much steeped in the roots. And I'm very happy to have that knowledge, and I can actually say it now, like with confidence in why. And I think you can just take a lot of your favorite games and do that now. It's really cool. This game is definitely something I will be playing once I get my Punisher 1cc.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fire it up and have some fun with this. Punisher, another great game. Fantastic game.
Oh man, I could just sit and keep going, but I won't extend it any longer.
Oh yeah,
Punisher's so damn good.
I think we're at the done here. Go check it out. But then go check out Final Fight, because you got to see where Punisher got its influence from.
You'll think that all the movement and everything, you're like, man, how could it get any cooler than this? And then you realize how elegant it can be when it's taken away.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I'm gonna close off the recording for now. Thank you.
Thank you.